Have you ever cried out only to be met with silence? What if that silence is the quiet before heaven's most powerful answer? In a world that seeks immediate answers and solutions, God's language of silence can easily go unnoticed. We are too fond of the noise that surrounds us that sometimes we fail to understand what God's silence means. When our cries echo back to us as mere whispers, we conclude that God has abandoned us in our suffering. Yet, in His silence, God is preparing to unfold what has never happened before. During the reign of King Ahab, Israel deviated from the path of truth. Ahab's wife, Jezebel, introduced Baal worship in the land of Israel. The king and the queen led the nation astray. The Israelites bowed to idols and turned their backs on God. God, angered by their unfaithful and unrighteous hearts, sent a drought that lasted for about 3 years. The people of Israel suffered severely from the effects of the drought. It was at this time that God sent Elijah as a solitary flame in darkness. In 1 Kings chapter 18, verse 22, Elijah cried out, "I am the only one of the Lord's prophets left, but Baal has 450 prophets." He was all alone in his battle. He had no one to count on for help amid his challenges. King Ahab and Jezebel sought after his life. Yet, he still stood alone in a landscape barren of righteousness. How many times do we find ourselves standing alone, surrounded by challenges and uncertain situations? Elijah's struggles resonate deeply with our trials and tribulations in the world today. Often, we are left all alone in our struggles. Elijah had to encourage himself to face his struggles alone because they were part of his divine call. He had to do it to fulfill God's purpose. It is when we stand alone that God reveals the deepest secrets of His kingdom to us. The season of drought symbolizes the struggles we go through as believers. It is the season of doubt and uncertainty, waiting, sickness, lack, economic crisis, and many other challenging situations that come our way. The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 1, puts it very clearly. There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. Sometimes we have to go through moments of suffering because it is one of the seasons that God created under the heavens. Just as Elijah had to confront a drought, we also have to confront droughts in various capacities of our lives. In the silence that follows our deepest cries, we can easily lose our faith in God. But again, in the silent times, an opportunity is created for our faith to blossom. Heaven's silence does not mean that God has abandoned us in our suffering. Rather, it means that He is preparing something great for us. The book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 8 says, "I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us." When our cries go unanswered, it is not a sign of abandonment, but an opportunity for us to nurture our faith in God. On Mount Carmel, Elijah challenged the prophets of Baal to prove that Baal is the true God. This was a moment of reckoning that proved the essence of Elijah's faith and total surrender to God. As the Baal prophets cried out to their God, he watched as the heavens remained quiet. But then Elijah's time to prove the Lord as the only true God came. With courage that could only be fueled by faith, Elijah called on God, asking Him to answer with fire. Powerfully, God answered with fire and consumed Elijah's offering. What the heavens revealed could not compare to their moment of silence. Heaven remained silent to prepare for this magnificent demonstration. In His silence, God prepared to show up in a way that humanity will never doubt His nature again. In His silence, He is preparing to show up in your life in a way that the whole world will testify that He is God. 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 9 reads, "What no eye has seen, what no ear has heard, and what no human mind has conceived, the things God has prepared for those who love Him." This is what the Lord is planning for you in His quietness. He has heard you calling unto Him. And even though He seems quiet, He is going to answer you through a powerful demonstration. When we cry out to God, we always yearn for immediate answers and solutions. We yearn for instant answers. But what if God's timeline is a testament to His grandeur and our growth? What does God's silence mean? The silence that precedes God's response is not a sign of abandonment, but a canvas through which God's purpose is fulfilled. When Job was waiting on God for healing, he acknowledged the fact that even though God was quiet, His purpose was going to prevail. The book of Job, chapter 42, verse 2 reads, "I know that you can do all things. No purpose of yours can be thwarted." Job's unwavering faith and surrender to the purpose of God helped him navigate through his struggles with hope. I want to encourage you today to have faith in God, even when the heavens are silent. Like Elijah, hold on to your faith, even if you are the only one standing strong. Surrender your struggles to God and allow Him to show up in your life in His way. In the silence before the fire, we are not forgotten. In the quietude of our prayers, we are being prepared for something great. Sometimes heaven's most profound answers come after the deepest silence. Therefore, embrace the silence, knowing that fire is on the horizon.